Hello.
Hey, you, how are ya?
Not too bad. Not too bad. Yeah, I just want to say good day to everyone in the space. My question is security related. Obviously, the NSN announced the other day that they won't be attending the march on the 19th. You know, people can argue whether that's a good thing or not. Um, March for Australia and your personal account have talked about taking Hyde Park back, and the Noticer ran an article saying the same thing. You were also saying that that people will miss the NSN not being there in Melbourne. Um, if something was to happen, won't your critics accuse you of deliberately inflaming tensions to justify NSN involvement in the future? Because it kind of appears to some people that you're trying to provoke a conflict with Antifa. Um, how are you taking extra security measures because the NSN aren't involved to keep people safe in those marches?
I mean, look, I haven't seen anybody saying that I'm trying to inflame a situation with Antifa. Antifa don't need any encouragement to inflame situations. Anything that is remotely right wing on the political scale will trigger them and make them attack.
Wouldn't you say though with those words? I mean, you chose Hyde Park for a reason, and you've repetitively sort of talked about taking it back. I mean, that is a bit of a red flag to a bull, wouldn't you think?
A red flag to a bull. What I mean, do you think that
Well,
Australian
it's
landmarks should be used? I just realised who this is. How you going, Disco?
who?
Disco.
No, no, man, you got the wrong person.
Hmm, okay. Well,
Okay,
anyways,
sorry.
look,
Yeah, that's just weird. Disco. I don't know any discos. I'm sorry.
okay.
I've
Well,
got a
look,
bit of the flu. I've got a bit of the flu, so maybe that's it. But yeah, yeah, that's not me.
yeah, maybe.
um,
Well, look, anyways, the reason for choosing Hyde Park for our location is because, yes, it has been used for foreign agendas for 2 years now, every Sunday without fail, some extra days as well. I think that an Australian cause should be able to use an Australian location. So, yeah, we're taking back Hyde Park and the police are aware and it's been approved and it's all above board. In terms of security, we are all completely self-funded, so we can't afford to put on actual security per se. But we will have marshals on the day. The police presence will be high, and we will do our best to keep everyone safe. I haven't inflamed anything, in my opinion, and I haven't had anybody else other than you right now tell me that I'm trying to inflame tensions with Antifa. Antifa's the one that have called the counter protest, not me.
yeah, I understand that. I mean, they're going to turn up regardless. I'm aware of that, but just language matters, and you know, saying those kind of things that you have said, I do think is that's just my personal opinion, but I do think it doesn't help, especially in a scenario where that security might not be able to sort of take care of what might happen. Basically, I think if everyone sort of wound down their rhetoric a little bit and just sort of made it into a bit more of a, hey, we're here to basically protest the government and we're here to protest various issues, and that's fine. But yeah, just sort of saying that you're going to take back something that seems to me inflammatory. But that's I'll leave that for other people's opinions. But yeah, that was my question. Thanks for hearing me anyway. I appreciate the opportunity to speak, and I'll pass it along to someone else.
Awesome. Thanks, mate.
Cheers.
Jesse, can you hear me now? It says that you're a speaker. Can you hear? Can you speak?
Yeah, I'm here. Can you guys hear me?
Yep, we got you.
Yeah, so I was using the browser, but now I jumped on the app. I think it was just because I was on the browser with that new account, but I logged out of the other account, but hopefully, I don't know, I just reckon I'm going to end up having problems with my other account. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, no, that sucks. Well, hopefully not. Jesse, did you have anything to add to the question that was just asked, or did you hear the question that was just asked?
No, I didn't hear it.
No, it was just in regards to our language that we use, like taking back Hyde Park, and that it could be seen as inflaming situations and whatnot. Yeah, like, look, I mean, I appreciate the opinion. It's the first time I've heard that opinion, as I've said. But yeah, we're not trying to inflame anything. What I will say, there's hands, but also Hoodlaw has just requested. Hoodlaw, as long as you're going to be respectful, I've got no problem with you being up here, but don't talk to me how you spoke to me last time, please.
Beck, just make me co-host as well, Beck. But I will answer on this inflammatory stuff. Why shouldn't we be allowed to protest in our own park? You know, it shouldn't be inflammatory to take back our own park that's been occupied by foreigners every Sunday for the last 2 years. They're the ones being inflammatory.
Yeah, 100%. Ryan, you've got a question?
Yeah, I thought I'd just do a response to that statement about the inflammatory. Like the last march that took place on the September 13th went out of its way to separate itself from the NSN and all that, and there was still like 10 times the amount of Antifa that turned up, saying the exact same things, calling everyone Nazis, being angry and crazy like they usually are, despite the fact that they went out of their way to be as nice and tolerant of everyone's welcome. Let's just have a peaceful protest against the government. They don't care at all. Like, you should just completely disregard trying to appease them, because they're never ever going to be appeased. It's up to us to have our march and screw them, frankly.
I couldn't agree more, eh? Couldn't agree more. I've been getting called a Nazi and racist and everything for God knows how long now, and it's, water off a duck's back. Hoodlaw, oh no, hold on. I don't know. I don't think it was Hoodlaw. I think it was Bad Boy. I can't say the rest of your name, but Bad Boy, you're up next, then Hoodlaw, then Preston. Bad Boy, you there or?
Bad Boy sound off.
If you're trying to speak, your audio is not
around.
working, though.
He's just fucking around. Go to Hoodie.
All right.
G'day, Beck, Jesse. Just sort of jump on and hearing what you're talking about. And I'm like, Beck and Jesse, you both know me from back at Epic. Jesse, you're hanging around with Brad. You know all the shit a lot of people on here don't know. The reason why it was so successful when we went there is because we worked together with the Aboriginal people. They're the ones that gave us the key to go into the back behind the library. So 3 years down the track, when we're seeing this divide, you're like, to me, I'm like, did they not pay attention to what we did there? And like, you by even just the simple thing, like someone said before, language, by putting on the poster saying no Aboriginal flags, only Aussie flags. I was like, well, hang on a minute, that's a little bit racist because it's Australia, and that's not how we worked back in 2022 when we ran the biggest political protest. So people are starting to identify that obviously the NSN, and by all means, they're all allowed to do whatever they like and protest and do whatever. But it's integrity and honesty that we're not getting from our own politicians and government. So when we run marches, people say they're not going to do certain things, and then they do them, or they cause issues just to get the spotlight, which can be proven in fact and receipts. It's really annoying. And a lot of people are pissed off at that because of the amount of effort that they took, the time to go down there. And instead of being focused, like someone said before, on the corruption and the government that's fucking us all, we start to turn against each other, which is the divide and conquer strategy that's been happening forever and a day. So, yeah, I back every march, every time anyone wants to stand up against the government because we are being royally fucked. But to dumb down the argument to one issue and make that a polarizing issue for the sake of getting publicity, because any publicity is good publicity, is really reprehensible in the whole scheme of what we're trying to do and achieve as Australians as a whole. So I just wanted to sort of share that when the shit worked, it's because we all worked together against a common enemy. We didn't work against each other. So I'm not happy with
Couple of
what
things
happened
to
in
unpack
Adelaide.
here. Couple of
I'm not,
things to
like, for
unpack here.
example, for what happened in Adelaide,
A couple of things to unpack here. It wasn't a successful thing at Canberra. Like it didn't really come to a cohesive end. You know, there was a lot of division and there was a lot of disappointment. So no, it didn't work at Canberra.
well, wait a second,
Second,
Jesse, you're looking at,
no,
you're
hang
looking
on,
at the end
I'll
game.
let you
You're
talk, so
looking
you
at the
let
end
me
of it.
talk.
You're looking
I'll
at the
let
end
you
of it.
talk.
You're looking
I'll
at
let
the
you
end of it,
talk, so
though.
you let me talk.
Well, you
I'll let you talk, Hoodie, so you let me talk, right? It sounds like you probably need to go to like the Antifa counter protest, or maybe just start your own rally if you don't like it. Because on the day I saw lots of footage, and you were being quite divisive on the day, and afterwards as well. So at the end of the day, Beck's made it very clear, and we've all made it very clear why we're not doing Aboriginal flags at this march. You can create a narrative if you want, but you're the one actually being divisive here, mate.
Yeah, look, hold on one sec, because there was bullshit also that Hoodlaw said, and I just want to address that as well, because I never once put out a flyer saying no Aboriginal flags. I said Australian flags only. On the day, and look, I'll be honest, yes, there was footage of me that was circulating that I was saying that I would ask them to leave. I decided against that because I didn't want to create punch-ons and throwdowns and everything in the parks. Like, I thought it's just not going to go well if I'm actually physically asking Aboriginals to pack their flags up. So I didn't do that. There was maybe 4 or 5 in Sydney. That was it. Everyone else marched together, united under the Australian flag, which represents all of us. The Aboriginal flag is a race flag. It doesn't represent all Australians. That is my reasoning. Also, the fact that it's Aboriginals that are trying to get our marches cancelled.
That's completely wrong. That's completely wrong.
It's
You
not
don't-
completely
what
wrong.
you're saying, what it represents.
It's not
a race.
completely wrong.
The actual
It's
flag
not
itself.
and don't interrupt the host.
The colours and the design.
Don't interrupt the host, Hoodlaw. Keep your mouth shut until you've spoken to. You've asked your question. We're answering it, so don't interrupt.
Okay, when I find you, I'm going to fuck you up, Jesse, for sending that message, cunt. Your
Is that a
turn.
threat? Is that a threat?
It's a fucking guarantee, you piece of fucking shit.
This is being recorded, idiot.
And that is why people don't want to work with Johnny Q, because he fires up when he can't have control of the entire situation. So go and spread your bullshit somewhere else, Johnny. Go fucking work with Mark Eldridge. Go work with the Abos. Go do whatever you want to do and leave us to do our thing if you don't agree with it. Anywho's, sorry about the tension, everyone. Let's move on to genuine questions. So Preston, you were up next, and then Codex.
Hey everyone, a hard one to follow, but I will say, you know what excites me? A March for Australia spaces every night for the next 4 or 5 nights. What an innovative idea! I think that's really, really cool that we get to speak to you guys and in all the different states as well for the next couple of nights. A 2-part question. Where are you guys at with organizational things? How are you feeling compared to last time? Is it a lot less stressful? Are you a bit further ahead than you were a week and a half up until the march last time? Where are you guys at? How are you feeling? Is everything all coming together? And also compared to last time as well. And the second part to this question is, where do you think everyone else is at? Do you think people are talking about the march more this time round with a week and a half to go, or do you think it's about equal?
So organization wise, it's a lot easier, obviously. We knew exactly what we were doing. We've had to cater to more people. The only thing I'm kind of struggling with is to try and find nationalist minded speakers. they're rare or they're too scared to jump up and speak. In terms of like PA systems and stuff, like we've been absolutely blessed. I don't feel comfortable naming his business just yet, although he said I can, but I know what the crazy left is like. But we've actually been offered a concert quality PA system that will be in Sydney, which is freaking awesome. On the day, we will give him a shout out. Like I said, I just don't feel comfortable doing it just yet because I know what the left is like. But he's an absolute legend for doing that. But yeah, like I feel like it's been a lot easier. But in respect of hype and everything, I don't know. I feel like we're being so censored. It's ridiculous because when I did a post about, I showed the Africans in Victoria with machetes, and I did a video saying to deport all criminal immigrants. That video went semi-viral, and all the responses on that were really positive about March for Australia. But we're just not seeing much because of censorship. I think there definitely still is hype there. I think we're just not seeing as much of it. Because like if we do things like the poll that we did today, people are voting on it and going nuts. I feel like the final week prior, like once speakers are announced and everything, I think that's when we'll start seeing more hype. It would be great to be able to do something shocking that gets us in the media, just so that I can feel more confident that the word has been spread. But media doesn't seem to want to touch us at the moment. I think they realized that they fucked up by putting it all over the media last time because it spread the word far and wide. And this time around, they just don't want to touch it. But I think, yeah, like in general, I think the energy seems pretty high. Obviously, not as high and as exciting as the first time around. But I think, yeah, there's definitely still a lot of interest this time. I don't know, Jesse, have you got anything to add?
If not on the media, I'll just mention that they were damned if they do and damned if they don't. Either way, word was going to spread out about MFA. So everyone knew that. I'll just leave that.
I'll say one thing that we can all do in the space is as it gets closer and closer, it just becomes more and more important to post about it. The most normal people, I think, won't show interest until the day or two before. Of course, we're all interested in this kind of stuff, but most people won't even think about it until it's actually on their front doorstep. So keep posting about it is what I'll be doing, especially the 24 to 48 hours leading up to it. It's not far away now. Beck, one more thing I just got from you is that maybe there are a few states still looking for speakers. So what a perfect opportunity these spaces are. If you are a nationalist speaker and you think you're a pretty good speaker, come and show the organizers in this space. Come and say something that impresses them. And you never know, you might find yourself on a stage in front of everyone.
100% Preston. I was actually thinking that over the next few days with these spaces with the organisers, I was thinking that, we might actually end up finding some speakers. So, 100%. If you're keen, reach out, especially for Melbourne, Sydney, and I'm not sure how Adelaide's going. I'm not sure if she's in here at the moment. But reach out if you're interested. But also get your flyers out. Go do some mailbox drops. Pin the flyers or sticky tape the flyers to the back of public toilet doors. Wherever you can, get the word out that way. Definitely helps.
Hey, Beck.
Yeah.
Yeah, just on speakers. Last time you mentioned, I did hear that Jim Salim was supposed to speak in Sydney. Is that going to happen this time around?
Yeah, I think Codex was waiting for. I think we'll come back to the
mate.
Jim
Yep,
Salim.
yep.
No, you're right. We'll come back to the Jim Salim thing because I have answered this a few times on X as well. But yeah, so we'll come back to that. But go on, Codex.
Oh yeah, I just wanted to echo the sentiments of some of the previous speakers. The rhetoric, like taking back Hyde Park, we should be giving it away because Australia is stolen land. We should have Aboriginal flags, welcome to country, talk about 5G, flat Earth, government corruption, aliens, all that shit. Not like anything to do with mass migration because that might be racist. wanting your country not to get flooded by millions of migrants to the point that you get forced out on the street. But seriously, I think that one thing that's changed since between now and the last protest was that the government has come out with its plans to basically, they're talking about they want another 2 million people in here by the next election. And that they're going to create a bunch of new ministers and electoral zones. So I think that at this point, it's pretty obvious that we're never going to be able to vote our way out of this. And anybody that wants to like attack this movement or say that it's not going to go anywhere, like the Libertarians, One Nation, the Liberals are probably never going to see political power in this country again. So people need to get behind a movement to force changes before we get absolutely flooded by migrants, because we are going to get hit absolutely hard. We're going to get swamped over the next couple of years. This country will be absolutely unrecognizable. And we don't even have like any political representation in parliament because the Liberals are going on about, oh, we need to bring more Indians into the party and have more Indian ministers. Do you know what the Indians are going to want? They're going to want more Indians in the country. They're not going to be like against mass migration. So in a couple of years, if we don't make our voices heard and force a change, we're going to be completely fucked. Like you'll be no way you can turn the taps off. We'll just get flooded until we're just an impoverished minority. Like I've heard reports by 2030, I've seen on realestate.com going on about rent's going to be $1,000 a week. All these people going on about how middle class just basically won't exist in Australia. Everybody will just be working class slaves or rich. And if you don't own property, you're basically fucked. Like our children and our grandchildren will have no future. This country's going straight down the shitter. And I think that people should definitely show up to this protest just like the last one. Also wanted to ask, like, just basically the last protest, right? We had a couple of chants, which is basically Aussie, 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 oi, 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 and Albo's a wanker. Did we end up getting like some better chants this time or what?
Yes, we did. I've put together a list like in a meme style type thing. I've been gathering suggestions from everybody and writing them down, and we've definitely got some good ones. So I'll pop that up probably in the next day or so. And yeah, I mean they're not strict. You have to do this, but definitely some recommendations that are a lot better than just the same thing over and over again.
I also just wanted to follow that up. I've been watching some of the protests that go on in other countries, and the Canadians now they're looking for bagpipers. So I think that Australia really needs to lift up its game. We need some drummers, a couple of guys playing bagpipes. That would be like really sick.
100% agree. That's another thing actually that we've got to put a call out for, Jesse. If anyone is a drummer or has a drum to bring with you in Sydney, reach out or bring it along because yeah, that would definitely be good. Jesse, go for it as co-host, and then you World or whatever.
I think Scotland the Brave is a famous bagpipe song that I'd hear that get played on Anzac Day as well. So surely there's some bagpipers out there who know it, but if not, maybe we can just pump it out on the speakers too during the march. But yeah, 100%. I reckon we need some new chants. We'll circle back to the Jim Salim topic again, and yeah, I feel like it's been addressed a couple of times, but just to let you know, so Jim Salim did come up to me during the open mic section when there was already probably about 10 people in the lineup waiting to speak. So he got there pretty late. I told him I'd do my best to squeeze him in. He agreed to keep it on topic and stay on topic with the rally. But I told him, there's a lot of people waiting for the open mic. And then next time I saw him after that, obviously it was complete mayhem during the open mic section. I was running around like a headless chook. And next time I saw him, he was walking away. So I don't know if he decided to give up but I don't know if we will have him speak at any other events because, to be honest, his men have been quite slanderous online, going around creating false narratives about what actually happened. So I don't know if we're really interested in working with his crew because they haven't been overly reasonable.
Have you got something to say about that, you World? Or
Oh shit! Sorry, I was just zoned out for a sec. Yep. No, thanks for answering my question, mate. Yep. I've got nothing else to add. Thank you.
All right, awesome. Once again, so this space is just to answer any questions that you might have about March for Australia in general, or specifically the Sydney event. So yeah, if anyone has any questions, feel free to jump up. But while there's no questions, I might just try and highlight the significance of Hyde Park in Sydney. So yeah, basically we could have gone to one of the parks that we wanted to do, or one of the other locations, or the one that we already did. But the reason why I wanted to do Hyde Park is because everyone's angry about not being able to do the Sydney Harbour. Now people are angry about the Opera House. Just want to clear something up. It's not like I didn't contemplate it. 100% I did. I spoke to the police and I've had a very, very good kind of working relationship with the police during March for Australia events, and I would like to keep it that way. Maybe that's because I've got PTSD from protesting in Melbourne. Who knows? But I want to keep a good relationship with them. So when they told me, because I also asked for Sydney Opera House, when they told me that is a strict no protest ground, instantly I'm thinking, okay, well, if I try and push for that and we get that, I could then be leading people into a hostile situation with the police. I didn't want to do that. Also, if it gets taken to court, just for as an example, I do have a lawyer that was willing to represent me pro bono, but he would have been up against 4 barristers because that's how many they had last time for the Harbour Bridge. They had 3 or 4 barristers. Barrister charges roughly 10,000 a day. I can't afford that. I don't want the people of Australia to have to dip into their own pocket to pay for the hire of 4 barristers to be able to cross the Harbour Bridge or go to the Sydney Opera House. So out of respect for my fellow Australians, I don't want to put people through that. So the next best option was Hyde Park. And as I said, they've been using it for 2 years straight for foreign agendas. It's got significance of that park, like the fountain has historical things. The thingy statue, I'm mental blanking. But it's a historically rich park. And the fact that we are, for lack of a better word, taking it back from foreign agendas being protested there for 2 years straight, I think aligns with our messaging in a really clear, concise way. So yeah, people, I find it really weird that there hasn't been more hype about the fact that we're taking Hyde Park back. But in case people didn't realise why that is significant, that is why. It has been used for foreign agendas for 2 years, and it's about time it get used for an Australian cause, for the Australian people. Nobody's requesting, is there? Come on, guys. Like, seriously? There's so many of you in here. Surely someone's got a question.
You got the South Australian organiser in the room.
Oh, is Annie in here? Is she? I can't see her in the list.
Yeah,
Annie.
I'll bring her up.
Yeah, Annie, if you want to come up, like, feel free, like, because it would be good for, if anyone's got any Adelaide questions, they can ask you, or you can say how you're going.
Yeah, and we get bombarded with DMs all day, every day. So we've got an opportunity here. We're ready to answer questions. So anyone who wants to request a mic, jump up.
Even if you haven't got a question and you just want to jump up and say something about March for Australia, or you want to tell a story about why you're supporting March for Australia, if you've gone through some sort of experience, whether it be immigrant crime or whether it's cost of living or being homeless, not being able to get a house, jump up, request, and ask away. Clint, hold on. There we go. Clint, you're up. Have you got something to say, or?
Yeah, hey Beck, hey Jesse, dead set. Yeah, I'll be there. I will be there. Why not? But like when I look at like like the mass immigration that the government are doing, like they're doing it to like basically water down our bloodline and our heritage to try and keep us divided and conquered basically. Okay, like is there like is there any room to like broaden the protest into like going against like the government's push for these vaxes that they're going to start trying to push, and they're all just different stuff like that, because they're still trying to vaccinate the kids, and we're seeing just the horrors that are going on around the country, around the world. Is there room to like broaden the agenda for Hyde Park that day?
No. So look, without sounding like just a blunt, straight out no, it's unfortunately a no. So whilst I acknowledge that all those problems that are going on in Australia are very, very serious, I think that they're all of some consent. Do you want to mute yourself, mate? Thanks. Whilst I agree that, yeah, they're serious issues, and most people that know me know that I started in the freedom movement. We've noticed over the years that when you have too many causes, too many reasons, the message gets mixed. People get confused. They don't know what they're protesting. Also, you can't, if you're protesting many different issues, you're asking the government to enforce so many policies at the same time as well. Whereas when you hone in on one subject, you can focus your request on that one topic. Mass immigration is such a serious issue in Australia at the moment. We are losing our identity. People are feeling unsafe. We're being overcrowded, and it's, at the moment, March for Australia will stay focused on just mass immigration and protecting our heritage, our culture, and our way of life. In my opinion, if we succeed in stopping mass immigration, then maybe then we can move on to digital ID or something like that. But for now, in the meantime, there are plenty of other groups that are protesting those things, and I encourage you to get to one of those ones.
And I'll just add to that as well, though, that the March for Australia, whilst it's not on the flyers or the direct topic of the marches, they are inherently anti-government marches, and the message is directed straight towards the government. It's not like we're out here blaming the immigrants solely. Like our message is directed at the government. We want to see a policy change. We want to see an end to mass immigration. So we're not giving the government a free pass and just blaming immigrants. It's 100% directed towards the government. But yeah, I think it's important to keep the message short and sweet and easy for the public to digest.
Thanks for answering that
question.
It was emancipate, then sad, but true, then Judy.
And Bew, do you want to mute yourself again, please?
So,
Thank you.
hi guys and everyone. I just had a quick question. It's kind of on March for Australia, but off on a tangent as well. So, just in the last 24 hours, there's been an update that the AFP have now got a new task force put together to target groups specifically, quote unquote, that aim to disrupt social cohesion. So this isn't a negative question, I guess. I just want to question: does March for Australia have any suspicions that AFP are now sort of looking at anyone that has any connection to March for Australia, or does March for Australia feel like AFP are targeting them, but they're not got some kind of insight somewhere, trying to infiltrate or do something, but there's been no spoken about it. A random question, but that was a new thing that came out today around the AFP.
No, that's a good question, because I actually saw that today. I've had that sent to me a few times. I haven't read through it properly. But look, I wouldn't be surprised if that they are bringing that in a fiercer way to combat things or people like us. However, what I will say is that at the Sydney event specifically, I can't speak on the other ones. Oh, hold on. Hey, do you want this one, Papa? With the Sydney event, we were told that if any hate speech or anything was said in any of the speeches or any of the crowd, that they would not hesitate to arrest immediately. So I feel like it's just another scare tactic, if anything, because we know the government loves to try and scare people into silence. I think that, that's all it is. I don't think it's like I don't know. That's just my opinion. I could be wrong. Hopefully I'm not. But yeah, I think it's just another scare tactic to try and silence us.
Cheers, because I just wonder, this is another way, not just of silencing, but a way to kind of lead to targeting groups to kind of absolutely lock them up or do things to put them as domestic terrorists and do different things. That's the only thing that I query around it. Where are they going with that? And are they targeting? Is this another thing to also target other groups as well? Perhaps it's just an interesting thing.
Sorry, guys.
Sorry, I missed the question, but did you want to take that?
Yeah, all good. Look, yeah, I definitely think it could be a possibility that it's going to be used to target certain groups. And I think that we just have to remember, same as with everything else, just don't comply, don't change your way. They can't shut us all up, they can't lock us all up, and they can't silence us all. Bubby. Sorry, I don't know whose hand was up next, but yeah.
It was Sad, then Judy,
Yeah.
and then you, and then I don't know after that. It was either Clint or Juggernaut.
Hey, thanks for the mic, guys. I just in regards to the government, they're always going to use scare tactics, so I think we just need to really learn to ignore it a little bit, without sounding like a meme of "please think of the children." I just want to remind you guys of when you were in school and how cruel kids can be when they gang up on you, when they form groups and you become the minority. And I really don't think any of us want our kids to feel like a minority in their own country. Where I am, that's exactly what it is. There's probably 2 to every 100 kids that are immigrants. There's 2 white kids. I don't hate different races. They have their home, and this is ours. And we need to stop thinking that we're racist to want to stay as the majority here. You know, I think with as far as the Aboriginal flag thing's concerned, Aboriginals, the ones that aren't government psyop, they know that they're being used as government decoys. And I mean, the fact of the matter is half of them are more than happy to march under the Australian flag. So it's not about us against the Aboriginals, it's about us stopping mass migration. And quite frankly, we all need to come together to do it. So just remember, when you're going, oh, you're racist, you're this and that, think of that when your kids are then outnumbered and feeling like shit in the school ground because they can't understand a word that's being said around them. That's it. That's pretty much all I've got.
Freaking well said, girl. Well said. Who was next?
Judy next.
Judy, yeah.
Thank you for the mic. I wanted to bounce back to the topic that Clint raised about having different other topics to speak of. I'm agreeing with MFA. I've really liked, and I think it's one of the hardest things to pull off, is to have a march, have a collective where it is all about just the one very spearheaded topic. Now, a couple of points on that. When you think about it, for example, if you know, there's a lot of people out there saying, "Oh, but we should be yelling about digital ID." Well, the issue is with the people that are coming in via mass immigration, they could be offered and I'm just using this as an example. Hey, if you come in, you've got to agree to a digital ID, and many of them will snap it up. So we've got to stop that. That will only add to it. So we've got to stop it by stopping the mass immigration in the first place, because that is a joinder to just about every single problem that we've got. The other side of it that I wanted to add, just to reflect on, goes back to the Canberra convoy thing that we did. And I remember, and yes, I know myself that there were so many people that were there for a myriad of various nuanced reasons for it. But I do remember an article by mainstream media that was put out. And what they said was, apart from underrating the amount of people that were there, saying, and they were all here for many various reasons. So they kind of whitewashed it. So nothing could be put to the government saying, this is what all these people are wanting to stop. It just took away, whitewashed, diluted any message. Whereas what we've got at the moment is a march where there's a collective of people coming in, and there is absolutely zero doubt that all those people are there for that one reason. Remembering what I said before, that one reason actually ties in to trying to address other reasons as well, even though we're not yelling about it. I wanted to bounce to Imance's question, which was a good question that she put up. And in my opinion, the short answer is, if we were to take that on board as a reason why we should perhaps second guess as to whether we should be doing these things, well, we might as well roll over now, because that's effectively what they'd want us to do. And now is the time that we have to stand up for Australia before it's absolutely too late. On the cohesion thing, the way I see it, although many people, particularly on the left, are trying to use a counter argument to pull it apart, I see it as more cohesion than not, because many of those tens of thousands of people, and I'm in Melbourne, so just to give you perspective, where it was all the argument on NSN, it was so glorious to see the tens of thousands of true blue Aussies that basically said, we don't care that they're here. We're against mass immigration, and we're all marching together for that. That to me is cohesion. So I just want to make those extra points. Thank you for the mic.
Thanks, Judy. I don't know who was next. Maybe Clint. Did you have your hand up first? And then
No,
Juggernaut?
it was Bew. It was Bew, and then it was either Juggernaut or Clint. I'll let those two fight it out. But Bew was up next.
Yeah, thanks for that, man. I just want to give a big shout out to Ben Adams, Bender, in the space, mate. Yeah, it's really good to see you. Hopefully we'll be able to meet again in Brisbane. And yeah, man, yeah, I've got some eggs for you for Musgrave Park, so I'll see you there, eh?
Pretty sure Clint was before me.
Hey, Dave. Thanks, my brother. Okay, Beck, okay, well, how about this for a footnote? Yeah, obviously going to have a massive police presence there. And I've asked this question, to the actual police, all of them, would have joined the force, wanting to be there to help the people, to help the people that couldn't, protect themselves. And they enforced the jab years ago, and if you spoke out against it, you were ostracized, you were deemed a nuisance, like a menace to society. And over the years, we've watched people lose their lives, lose their limbs. And so, do you think a footnote to actually personally address the police that are present, to have a look at who they're working for, and are they really here protecting the people anymore? Getting them to think, because if we have, because at the end of the day, they're people just like us. And they're not they are so divided, far from being there anymore to help the people. They're enforcing the rule of absolute insanity. And maybe mention to them, to have a look at the people they're working for and question, what they're doing, and rather than blindly following orders, come back to the people who need them, not just the police, but the military. We need them to come back to the people rather than enforce the rule of insanity.
Right, I guess I'll jump in now. So what I wish that people that were concerned about things like the digital ID and vaccinations and lockdowns and all these other things, um, I think they need to accept and understand. I'm not saying they're not issues. I refused a jab. I lost my job. I lived in my car for 6 months. I've been through the whole gamut of the systems bloody rubbish when it comes to these things. But mass immigration is a very polarizing issue that so many Australians can get behind. And there would be plenty of people attending these marches who happily went and got vaccinated against COVID, had no problems with the lockdown, right or wrong. So with mass immigration, you've got the chance to get the most people on side initially, and when people start gravitating to a movement like March for Australia and start looking at the government with the more critical eye, they are then going to start to see these other issues that people are so passionate about. But these people have been fighting against COVID and those kinds of things for years. And I feel like, whether they feel upset for some reason that now all of a sudden what they've were fighting for has been overshadowed by MFA. And I just think that's like not the attitude to take. Like, we're all as Australians trying to make this country better. Let's get the low hanging fruit out of the way. Mass immigration is the easiest thing to overnight solve. And then we can then, as conversations progress, then start looking at these other issues. The other thing, in regards to like that AFP statement that was released today, I've had lots of people message me about it too. I've been a nationalist for 20 plus years, so I'm used to this sort of attention, and a lot of people are surprised, sort of, well, what does this mean because of the vagueness of the language? Now, that's by design, 100%. Depending on how much Australia progresses or groups that come out of it or involved with it, how they act, and if the government feels like that they're really losing control, this is just a mechanism for them to try to stymie the efforts. But I will encourage everyone, and I know it's hard, and for some people it's daunting. If it comes to the day when they start knocking on the doors of people, turning up to your work and all those kinds of things, is to stay strong. They can't, they're churning criminals in and out and releasing people on bail because they can't house the actual criminals that we have in this country as it is. They cannot lock up and process hundreds of thousands of us and go through the litigation system. The court time would be measured in decades before they even got to the bottom of it. So don't fall for the bullshit narrative. Stay strong. There's going to be people around there. Look to inspiration to the people in your city. Get involved in conversations. Do some networking, and just like don't back down. Cheers.
100% agree. Good on ya. Codex, you're up.
Oh, hey, yeah. I put a video up in the bubble there just so that people don't think I was talking shit. Like, I've seen bagpipers at the Anzac Day marches as well. Like, if you get like some bagpipe guys, a couple of dudes with drums, it's actually like super sick for a march. And to me, like the sort of guy that plays bagpipes has like a giant set of fucking balls. And I think that like if anybody had bagpipes showed up to a march for Australia, it would trigger the fuck out of Antifa. Like they would just get dabbed on so hard that they would probably just cry and quit. But the other thing I wanted to talk about was just the kids. Like I've moved recently, and where I am, there's a bunch of museums and stuff like that. And I'm seeing like all these classes of kids come through, and like there's probably like 5 kids that are Australian in a class of 30, and all the rest of it is Indian and Asian kids. And I'm not sure if anybody saw that paper recently going on about how basically the Indians and the Asians are using like gender selective abortions. They only want male kids. But a lot of these classes were just like male Indian children. So if you're a parent and you've got kids, especially daughters, in probably 10 to 15 years' time, this country is going to be fucking hell for women of any kind because all these migrants are coming down here. Most of them are men and they're having male children. So our gender ratios will just be totally skewed. And it will end up like the UK, which is the rape capital of Europe. So that's another reason to be against mass migration. Now I do feel horrible for the children because when I went to school, like we had like some, mostly like Tomans or Samoans or Catholic like that. But now the Australian kids are actually the minority in classes. It must be absolutely fucked. Like, can you imagine going to school and like the cool kids are all fucking Indians? Like, how fucked up would that be? That's what Australian kids are going through now. So sick of the children and go to the March for Australia.
Can I interrupt? Was that speaker, was Codex mic really off for anybody else? Because I found that really hard to understand.
Yeah, it was a little bit off, but I got all of it. I'm pretty sure I heard everything Codex. So, but yeah, it was definitely a little bit muffled. So maybe just I don't know, check your mic or something. But yeah, I definitely agree with what you're saying, Codex, and I wonder if women are actually starting to get it as well, because I saw on a poll somewhere, it was like some kind of census poll. Don't quote me on it. I can't remember where I saw it, or even if it was in Australia or not. But there was women. There was more women opposing mass immigration compared to men in this particular poll that I saw. So I don't know if anyone else saw that and knows about it, but I can go try and dig it up while we're running this space. But yeah, definitely, Codex. The safety of our women is going to be in peril if we keep bringing mass third world immigration into the country. We'll go to Melissa.
Hey, Jess. I just want to point out that exactly that. Like, I live in North Canberra, and 4 times now I have been verbally assaulted. I'm just waiting for the punch by Middle Eastern men of fighting age. And like next door is Mexican, the one down is Muslim, one across the way is Hindu. It's disgusting. And it has us absolutely terrified to leave the house.
Yeah, well, this is why we have to march and let it be known that we're completely against this stuff. Because I mean, if we can't even keep our women and children safe, we can't really take ourselves seriously as a society. So we'll go back to Codex.
Oh yeah, just in regards to the police as well. Like the last march I went to, the police were really good. I imagine that because the organizers have been talking to the police and working with them, I don't think that they would be a problem. So that whole AFP thing, like if you're working with the police, they'll probably show up and do probably a better job of protecting people this time as well, because they saw that there was violence last time, so they'll make sure that that doesn't happen. So I wouldn't be worried about them. It will probably be a much safer march this time as well, because I don't think that they knew last time how many people were going to show up. So I don't think they were prepared for it as they could have been.
100% spot on with that.
Sorry, I think Melissa still might have had more to say, or were you done, Melissa? Sorry, I went straight back to Codex.
On the AFP thing, I think our biggest threat, other than Antifa, is the AFP. Honestly, lots of them down here learned from Dickhead and KFC. Sorry, Grant and Donna. I always forget to call them by their proper names.
Were you there for the KFC thing, were you? That was
I was
hilarious.
I was watching online most of the time because I actually fell down the hill at Parliament House on the 31st of January and twisted my knee, so I couldn't attend the next week or 3 years.
Oh gosh. Yeah, right. Okay. Yeah, well, yeah, Donna and Grant, that was some fun times.
Central, go ahead.
I was just going to touch on the AFP subject really quickly. I do believe that in liaising with the police officers on site on the day, that's going to be our best approach. Even in speaking with I honestly wish that there were more volunteers sort of putting their hands up to become marshals for each of the events, but you know, it is what it is. But in speaks, I have been, you know, really promoting that they do liaise with the police officers and security on the day, and just you know, offer a peaceful presence. You know, we're not in it for hostility.
100% essential. I think people are a little bit worried to marshal, I think, because of jobs. And I mean, if you're seen on camera with an actual fluoro on, then they're going to assume that, yeah, whether you're just there to help out or not, that your employers are going to assume that you're part of the organising crew, I guess, and they're just worried about, yeah, the hype around it and possibly losing their job. But yeah, look, if we work with the police, they'll work with us. And that's coming from somebody that I've never worked with the police in my freaking life. I've never applied for a permit or a notice to assemble like I did with March for Australia. It was a first for me. And I was incredibly nervous about it. But because we have been willing to work with them, they've also been willing to work with us. So I think, yeah, especially with these types of events and protests, I think we definitely have to try and keep on the good side with the police. Otherwise, it'll just get way too messy. I feel like there were hands before. Did I imagine that there were hands up? I feel like I saw like 3 or 4 hands up and then they're all just gone.
Yeah, we smashed through a couple, and then yeah, I don't know what happened after that. But Winston's got his up, I can see, and then racial realism.
Yeah, g'day guys. I just wanted to say someone that marshalled last time and even inadvertently ended up in a fucking promo video for the march without my permission. Like I haven't been doxxed or had anyone recognize me or give me any shit whatsoever. And as far as the marshalling gig, it's the easiest gig I've ever had. You know, I put on a fluoro, I walked next to everyone. I was up near the front, and then I got a fucking awesome spot right next to the stage, and you know, got a front row seat for the speeches. So if anything, I'd rather marshal than just be a random in the crowd. Nothing to be scared of whatsoever. So just throwing that out there for anyone that's sort of sitting on the fence and thinking about it.
You 100%
Yeah,
have
no.
that's a bonus for sure. The fact that you get to be up front and like in amongst it all, I think that's a freaking huge bonus. So yeah, be a marshal, guys, do it.
Yeah, good input, Winston. Good chat. I don't know, yeah, I'm sure we had more hands up.
Racial realism had his hand up. I don't know if he still wants to talk or not.
Yeah, just give us a couple of minutes. I'm just jumping off one train onto another, heading home from work. Give us a few.
Cool.